Hello, everyone. My name is Alice. I want to tell you about an incident I experienced with my friends. This event actually happened a few years ago. However, what I went through was so terrifying and chilling that it has been genuinely difficult to talk about and come to terms with. I'd like to briefly introduce myself and my friends. We are 5 friends attending university: Mia, Leah, Aaron, Mary, and me. All of us, except Leah, live with our families. Leah is renting here because she came from another city. We've only known each other for a month, but we've made so many memories in this short time that a strong bond has truly formed between us. One day, Leah invited us all to stay over at her house. The invitation suited us, so we decided to get permission from home and go. My mother always looked out for me, protected me, and wouldn't let me take a wrong step. Moreover, her religious beliefs were stronger than mine. She had an amulet made, a piece of paper with a prayer written on it, and hung it around my neck. Even though I told her it was unnecessary and that I had never experienced anything strange, my mother said, "My daughter, this isn't just for things you can't see. God's name is inside that prayer. Where God's name is present, evil cannot exist, and you will stay away from harm. So, always keep it with you. God will always protect you and be with you." My mother always sought my consent. After accepting Leah's offer, we all prepared some things at home and went to her house. It was actually a house owned by an elderly woman. The house had 2 floors. The woman lived downstairs, and Leah rented the upstairs. The rent was quite reasonable, which is why she could afford to live alone. She liked her own space and solitude and hadn't taken a roommate. The house was small but spotless. The garden was quite large and full of fruit trees. We loved the house. When we arrived in the afternoon, we met the landlady. She seemed angry and distant, but Leah said, "She's kind-hearted and means well." Perhaps we had judged her solely based on her outward appearance, which wasn't fair. We immediately prepared food and set up a lovely table. We spent the day eating, drinking, and having fun. As evening fell, it got dark. We had all gotten permission from our families to stay the night, and we'd even brought our pajamas. When it was completely dark, we put on our pajamas, turned on music, and started dancing. Suddenly, the power went out. We were all momentarily startled. Leah said, "Things like this happen, don't worry. It will be back on soon." But no matter how long we waited, the electricity didn't return. We were trying to light up the house with our phone flashlights, but since we had taken many photos during the day, our batteries were almost dead. Realizing the power wasn't coming back, Leah said, "I'd better go get some candles." She went to the other room. A few seconds later, she came back and said, "Girls, I have bad news. We've run out of candles." I immediately asked, "Does the power go out often here?" Leah replied, "Not too often, just occasionally. I'll try calling Mrs. Donovan. Maybe she has some." She called the woman a few times, but couldn't reach her on the phone. "What are we going to do now?" I asked. Leah said, "It's fine, don't worry. I'll go downstairs and ask her for a candle. She always trusts me. She used to say I could take whatever I needed from her house." Since we didn't want to leave her alone, we all went downstairs together. Leah retrieved the key from beneath the flower pot by the door. She unlocked the door and went inside. It was pitch black in there. Moreover, there was a heavy, stale smell. Mia whispered, "Doesn't this woman ever clean? What is this place?" Leah replied, "The old woman can't manage. I try to help her, but she usually refuses. She doesn't want to tire me out." We were lighting up the area with our phone flashlights. The house truly looked strange. Leah quickly went to the kitchen cabinet and opened a drawer. She took 2 candles and turned back. We were just about to leave when we realized Aaron wasn't with us. Leah called out, "Aaron, where are you? Come on, we're leaving." Aaron asked, "What's behind this door?" Leah urgently replied, "I don't know, but we're forbidden to go in there. Please, leave immediately and come here." But Aaron didn't listen to Leah. She opened the door and went inside. Stepping in, she exclaimed, "Wow, what are all these things?" Leah quickly went after her and stood at the doorway. "Aaron, please come out. If Mrs. Donovan finds out we went in there, she'll kill me. Please, come out," she pleaded. But Aaron ignored her. She walked further in and began examining the room. Mia and Mary also gave in to their curiosity and entered. I told them, "Girls, let's get out of here. Look, Leah will get into trouble because of us." But they didn't listen and went into the room. Now, everyone was inside. Only I remained outside. Frankly, I didn't want to go in there. I stood at the doorway, watching them. Everyone had a flashlight, and the room was quite illuminated. The inside was genuinely full of strange objects. Dolls hung from the ceiling, jars were scattered around, and inside these jars were objects I couldn't identify. Symbols and Arabic writings were drawn on the walls. It looked like some kind of magic or ritual room. I always kept away from such things. Plus, I had the amulet my mother gave me around my neck. I thought these things wouldn't affect me. As the girls examined the room, Erin picked up a jar and held her phone light to it. Inside the jar was a jet black snake. Erin screamed, "Oh my God, what is this? This woman is a psychopath. How can you live with her?" Leah immediately said, "Put it back. Don't touch anything. Let's get out of here." Erin turned around to place the jar back, but suddenly shrieked and jumped back. The jar dropped from her hand, hit the floor, and shattered. The liquid inside splashed onto the girls. The snake inside the jar suddenly moved and rapidly slithered into the darkness. Erin ran out of the room. Leah, in a panic, muttered, "Damn it. What am I going to do now? What will I tell Mrs. Donovan?" All the girls rushed out. The liquid that had splashed on them carried a horrible stench. We all hurried upstairs. The girls immediately changed their clothes and washed their hands. Leah turned to Erin and shouted, "Do you realize what you've done? Why did you break it?" Erin retorted, "Are you crazy? I didn't break it on purpose." When I turned around, I saw a pair of eyes in the darkness. It was watching me. That's why I got scared and dropped it. Leah snapped back, "Don't be ridiculous. There was no one else there but us. Don't give me a story. You did it on purpose. You wanted me to get into trouble." With those words, a fierce argument began between Erin and Leah. They almost came to blows. We intervened and separated them. We gathered the broken glass and placed it on the table, and everyone retreated to a corner. We were waiting for the power to return. Despite the tension, we hoped we could continue our fun. Although Erin and Leah kept their distance, they continued to argue by exchanging remarks. Finally, unable to bear it any longer, I said, "Girls, enough already. Please stop. We're already stressed enough. Don't make the atmosphere worse." At that moment, a deep silence fell over the room. Everyone stopped and withdrew to their corner. After a while, Erin got up and walked toward the door. "Where are you going?" I asked. Erin turned around and said, "I don't know. Come on, sit back down. Don't go outside. It's dark. We'll all leave together in the morning," I said. Erin was acting strange. Even when we didn't say anything, she would occasionally say, "Yes? What is it?" and then fall silent. Sometimes she would stare at the ceiling or the empty walls and smile, then return to normal. These actions made me seriously uneasy. Suddenly, I thought of my mother. It was late, but she hadn't called me even once. Normally, no matter what, she would always call and ask how I was. This was strange. I took my phone and called my mother, but she didn't answer despite it ringing repeatedly. As the silence continued, Leah said, "Girls, it doesn't look like the power is coming back. Let's go to our rooms and sleep." I, Erin, and Mia would stay in one room, and Leah and Mary in the other. The house had 2 rooms, no other options. Without saying anything else, we went to our rooms and lay down. Leah was lying with her back to the room in one corner, while Mia and I were on the other side. Mia leaned close to me and said, "I can't sleep at all. I feel really uneasy." I replied, "Don't worry, tomorrow is another day, and everything will be fine. Trust me." Mia then asked, "Why do you think Erin acted like that? Was it really because she's jealous of Leah?" "No, Erin isn't like that. It must have been a mistake. Hopefully, there won't be any trouble. Come on, sleep," I said, and turned my back. Mia was between us. As soon as I closed my eyes, I fell asleep. When I woke up later in the night, I was very thirsty. I got out of bed and went to the kitchen. After drinking my water, I turned around and ran into Erin. I asked her, "When did you get up? I didn't hear you at all." But Erin didn't answer me. Since her behavior was strange, I didn't press her. She was probably still angry. I walked past her and headed back to the room. Just as I was about to sit on the bed, I paused. Erin was still asleep in bed. What I had just seen flashed through my mind. I turned and looked towards the door again. I wondered if I had seen wrong. I turned on the lamp and checked the room, and indeed, I saw Erin in her bed. I turned back toward the kitchen door, but there was no one there. This was very odd. I figured I must have seen wrong because I was sleepy. I turned off my phone's flashlight and lay down on the bed. As I settled in, I heard Mia say, "Aaron, please stop. You're hurting me." I immediately turned and asked, "Mia, what's wrong?" Mia replied, "Aaron keeps digging her nails into my arm. It's bothering me." I told Aaron, "Please stop. Let us sleep." However, Aaron made a strange sound, then whispered something. We couldn't understand what she said. This situation made me very uncomfortable. I immediately stood up and turned on the room light. At that moment, I saw Aaron wasn't moving and appeared to be asleep. I went over and gently grabbed her arm, shaking her slightly. "Aaron, why are you doing this?" I asked. Aaron looked at me with sleepy eyes and said, "What are you talking about? I'm sleeping. I haven't done anything." She truly seemed to be asleep. I turned to Mia and asked, "Are you sure Aaron touched you?" Mia said, "Yes. I swear. She was scratching my arm with her nails. You can look if you want." She held out her arm. There was a faint redness on her arm. "Maybe you did it by mistake," I suggested. Mia got angry and stood up. "Are you too crazy? Don't I know if I did it myself? Anyway, I'm going to sleep in the living room. My nerves are completely shot now," she said. She grabbed her pillow and left the room. Aaron and I were left alone. I was very tired and didn't want to dwell on these strange occurrences any longer. I lay down in bed and covered myself. As soon as I closed my eyes, I fell asleep. I don't know how long I slept, but I woke up to a loud noise in the night. I opened my eyes and looked around. Aaron was not in bed. I immediately got up and turned on the light. The noise had frightened me. I left the room and went to Leah's room. When I opened the door, they were also awake and had gone to the window. "What happened? What was that noise?" I asked. Leah said, "I don't know. It came from outside." We all gathered at the window and looked out. It was pitch dark outside. We couldn't see anything. At that moment, I realized that all of us were there, but Aaron was missing. "Wait, where's Aaron?" I asked. The girls said, "We don't know." I checked the living room and the kitchen, but couldn't find Aaron. A terrible feeling washed over me. What if something happened to her? What if she heard the noise and ran outside in fear? I thought. I returned to the girls. As I was about to ask about Aaron, Leah said, "There's someone outside." We all focused and looked behind the trees. Something was moving in the darkness. It can't be Aaron, I thought. Aaron wasn't brave enough to wander among the trees in the middle of the night. We quietly watched outside the window. The two figures in the darkness were moving quickly. After a while, they disappeared completely into the darkness and vanished from sight. "We can't see anything anymore. I don't know what we should do," I said. Leah replied, "Don't worry, everything will be fine. Maybe Aaron is just doing this to scare us." "No, Aaron is not like that. She would never do such a thing," I said. Just then, the house door was knocked upon. We all flinched and looked at each other in fear. Leah said, "Okay, calm down. I'll go check the door." We followed her. Leah walked toward the outer door and asked, "Who is it?" There was no answer, and the door was knocked upon again. Leah asked again who was at the door. The sound we heard then sent shivers down our spines. It sounded like an animal was at the door, as the noise was not human. At first, we thought it was a dog or a wolf, but they wouldn't knock. Mia immediately backed away from the door, grabbed her phone, and tried to call the police. However, no matter what she did, she couldn't get through. Then Leah tried to call Mrs. Donovan, but we couldn't reach her either. We were trapped here alone and didn't know what to do. There's nothing I can do. Going outside is dangerous. I'm trying to reach someone from inside the house, but it's not working. While we were talking, the window of the house was tapped. This time, we were even more terrified. If we were downstairs, maybe we wouldn't have reacted so strongly, but since we were on the upper floor, this seemed impossible. Someone tapping on the window terrified all of us. When we looked at the window again, we all started screaming, shouting, and crying. Standing outside the window was a creature with long horns, a terrible smile on its face. It tapped on the window with its long-clawed hands, acting as if it wanted us to come closer. I was constantly praying, begging God for help. We had no other choice. I told Leah, "Call the landlady and tell her the situation immediately." Leah cried. "You see, I called her countless times, but I can't reach her." We were trapped inside the house. We all went into a room, locked the doors and windows, drew the curtains, backed up against the wall, and just waited for morning. We still had no news of Erin. Her absence both worried and saddened us. What had happened to her? Could that horrible creature outside have caught her? 1,000 questions spun in our minds, but we just sat and waited. Time wouldn't pass. The only thing we were happy about was that the electricity was still on. If the power went out, our fear would double. But even with the lights on, staying in this terrifying environment was unbearable. As we sat there, Leah's phone rang. Leah looked at the phone and waited a bit. "What are you waiting for? Answer it." I said. "No, I don't want to answer an unknown number," she replied. Mia angrily said, "Leah, are you out of your mind? We need someone right now. We've been calling everyone for hours, but we couldn't reach anyone. Now someone is calling us, and you won't answer it." Then, she snatched the phone from Leah's hand. She answered the call and put it on speaker. As soon as Mia answered the phone, she screamed, "Please, rescue us from here. Help us," and started crying. After Mia spoke, there was a brief silence. Then, we heard Erin's voice. "Girls, I'm here. Look at me," she said. We asked in shock, "Erin, is that you? Where are you? Whose phone is this? Look at the window. You'll see me," she said. We jumped up and ran to the window. When we parted the curtains and looked outside, we froze where we stood. Erin was hanging from a tree. Her clothes were covered in blood, and she had deep cuts on her body. Seeing her, we started screaming and crying loudly. "Erin, how can you call someone in that state? How can you talk? If this is all a joke, please stop it," I pleaded. Erin's voice had changed. In a cold, deep tone, she said, "This is how all of you will end. You will all die." That voice was not Erin's. Mia shrieked and threw the phone. The phone hit the wall, fell to the floor, and shut off. We didn't know what to do. We immediately closed the curtains and crouched back down. While Mia, Leah, and I were crying and running around, I noticed Mary frozen in a corner, staring fixedly at one spot. "Look, Mary isn't well. Let's please try to gather ourselves. When things like this happen, we must seek refuge in God. Can anyone among you pray?" I asked. Leah said, "Yes, I know a little bit. My grandmother taught me." Mia also said, "I know a few prayers." I went over to Mary and asked, "Mary, do you know how to pray?" But she still wasn't speaking. Her eyes were wide open, staring into space. The three of us went to her side. "Mary, I know you're scared, but don't give up. Look, we are scared too, but by the grace of God, we will get out of this nightmare. We will return home safely, and we will find Erin. I promise. Please, pull yourself together a little," I said. As I was saying this, Mary was unresponsive. "Leah, please tell me what is happening to us," she said, referring to Mary's speech now. Mary's eyes filled with tears, and in a trembling voice, she said, "We are not alone here." I told her, "Don't worry, everything will be fine. This is all just a trick our minds are playing on us." Mary shook her head no and raised her hand, pointing with her finger to the other end of the room. "Right there," she said. As the three of us simultaneously tried to look in the direction Mary pointed, the lights in the house suddenly began to flicker. Every time the light flashed on and off, a dark silhouette appeared in the corner of the room. Its head was so tall it almost touched the ceiling. It had long black hair that seemed to wave in the air and arms that were much longer than its body. Realizing that we had noticed it, it let out a high-pitched scream. Terrified, we ran out of the room. Leah quickly closed and locked the door. We were screaming and running back and forth inside the house. But at that moment, we realized that Mary was left inside. I shouted, "Leah, are you crazy? You locked the door. Mary is inside. What are we going to do now?" Leah, panicking, said, "I don't know. We can't go back in while it is inside." I retorted, "Open the door. I'm going in. I can't leave Mary there." We tried to open the door repeatedly, but we couldn't. It was as if someone inside was holding the door, not allowing it to open. Now, the three of us, Mia, Leah, and I, were desperately waiting for the morning. I kept looking at my watch, waiting for the call to morning prayer. Leah said, "Mrs. Donovan is normally always home. How unlucky we are that she's not home today. If she saw our screams and desperation, she would surely help." I said, "I don't understand why these things are happening to us. Why are we experiencing this?" Leah took a deep breath and said, "Mrs. Donovan is a woman who deals with magic, charms, and the like. No one but me knows this, but she has never performed evil magic. She always tried to help people and remove evil from them. While dealing with these matters, she kept the evil she purged from people inside those jars." I immediately jumped in. Then how do you know all this? Why are you telling us now? Leah replied, Actually, Mrs. Donovan is a distant relative of mine. I sometimes help her when she performs these practices and learn a few things. Then why are you learning these things? What do you need them for? I asked. I don't know. Mrs. Donovan keeps teaching me things, saying, perhaps you might need it someday, she replied. Fine then. Apply what you've learned now and save us from this situation, I said. Leah responded, Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do right now. We have to wait for the morning. Mia suggested, maybe we should go back there. Maybe there's something there that can save us from this situation. Actually, this idea seemed logical to me too, but to go there, we had to leave this house. Going outside was not safe at all. As we were discussing this, the doors and windows began to be knocked upon again. We looked around with fearful eyes. We couldn't predict what would happen. We had already lost 2 friends. We didn't even know what had happened to them. Finally, deciding we had no other choice, we decided to go back to the woman's house. We quietly looked at each other. Praying, we opened the door. The outside seemed calm. We quickly went down the stairs and arrived at Mrs. Donovan's house. We opened the door and went inside. We immediately closed the door behind us. We went straight to the room and turned on the light. The room we had only seen with our phone flashlights was now fully illuminated. There were intricate symbols on the walls and countless jars on the shelves. We all scattered and started looking for something. I told Leah, please be careful. Let's not drop and break anything else. If we damage something this time, we are truly finished. As we continued our search, Leah suddenly shouted, I found it. I found it. I asked her, calm down, what did you find? Leah excitedly came toward us. Look, there's a book here, and it's written in a language we can understand, she said. Leah took the book and flipped through a few pages. Yes, this is truly an old book, but we don't know what kind of curse we brought upon ourselves. There's nothing written here about randomly breaking a spell. Each one has its own specific solution and method. If we do something wrong without knowing, we could bring a bigger disaster upon ourselves, she said. As Leah examined the book, the house door suddenly opened, followed by the sound of it closing. Approaching footsteps froze our hearts. A few seconds later, Mrs. Donovan appeared at the doorway. Her eyes were full of rage. Mrs. Donovan angrily said, Have you lost your minds? What are you doing here at this hour? Leah, didn't I tell you not to come in here? What audacity! Leah cried. Abla, please help us. Mrs. Donovan shouted, Get out of here immediately, hurry, and pushed us out of the room. Then, seeing the shattered jar on the floor, she came toward us and said, What have you done? What have you caused? Look at the state of these places. Leah told her what we had experienced. Mrs. Donovan was very angry at first, but seeing the fear in our faces, she took a deep breath. All right, I will help you. But first, give me a moment, she said, and entered the room. A few minutes later, she quietly came out. Mrs. Donovan had a few items in her hands. We were curious about what she would do and how she would save us from this trouble, keeping our eyes glued to her. Mrs. Donovan came to the center of the living room and stopped there. Pull that table aside, she said. Then she told us to lift the rug. When we lifted the rug, we froze for a moment. Underneath the rug was a huge circle. Symbols and numbers, the meaning of which we didn't know, were written around the circle. Mrs. Donovan told us to sit around the circle. Cover your heads with these sheets, she said. We took her black sheets and covered our heads. Mrs. Donovan sat in front of us and opened a notebook. The pages of the notebook looked blank, but she was reading something while looking at them. Strange sounds were coming from outside. Sometimes we heard Aaron's voice, sometimes Mary's. They were shouting, asking for help, and screaming. As we worried that something had happened to them, Mrs. Donovan said, Don't be afraid. Don't worry. They are not your friends. They are just entities that have taken their form. They want to drag you outside and take your lives, but I won't let that happen. Trust me, everything will be fine. We had no other choice anyway. As Mrs. Donovan continued reading, the sounds outside grew louder. Doors and windows were rattling as if they would break, and they were calling out our names. At one point, Mia stood up and wanted to go to the door, but Leah and I stopped her. Mia told us, I'm not well. I feel terrible. I feel nauseous. Mrs. Donovan said, Almost there. Girls, you can endure it. After a while, she placed a bowl full of water in front of us. Dip your hands into this water, then rub it on both of your shoulders. Do this 3 times, she said. We followed her instructions exactly. As we did this, the sounds around us diminished. It was as if they were fading away. Everything slowly began to return to normal. Mrs. Donovan took a deep breath. "Come on, stand up. Now we are going to find your friends," she said. When we got to the door, she told me, "Tell me where you last saw your friends." I said, "One was there, I don't know about the other." The one who dropped and broke the jar was also there. Mrs. Donovan suddenly stopped. Her eyes widened. "Did you break the jar?" she asked. I said, "Yes, one of them broke. Everything started after that." The woman looked shocked. "Then why didn't you tell me that?" she asked. We looked at each other and said, "We told you everything. You already saw the broken jar." The woman said, "I didn't think you broke that jar. I only thought the curse had possessed you and was trying to scare you. That's why I thought I could help." Leah, in fear, asked, "Abla, yes, Aaron dropped and broke that jar. These events started after that. If you didn't think we broke it, who did you think did?" After this question, there was silence for a few seconds. Then, the sound of a lid opening was heard from somewhere. We all turned that way. A secret compartment in the wall had opened. A tall, black-haired creature with red eyes looked at us from there. We screamed and backed away. Mrs. Donovan said, "Don't be afraid. It won't hurt you." Leah exclaimed, "Oh my God, what is that? It looks so terrifying." The creature behind the door smiled. That smile was so disturbing that even remembering it today sends shivers down my spine. Then it backed into the compartment, and the lid closed. At that moment, everything clicked into place. Erin was right. She had said she encountered a red-eyed creature inside, and that's why she dropped and broke the jar. But we hadn't believed her. "So what happens now? What will become of us?" I asked. Mrs. Donovan said in a cold voice, "You drew that curse upon yourselves by breaking it. You did this willingly. There is nothing more I can do for you." Then she walked to the door and said, "Now get out." In desperation, I said, "Mrs. Donovan, what are you saying? Aren't you going to help us?" The woman looked at Leah and shouted angrily, "I told you not to enter here. This place is dangerous and cursed. That jar broke, and what was inside splashed onto all of you. You summoned your own death. I cannot deal with that curse again. Now suffer the consequences, as you got yourselves into this." Then she grabbed us by our arms, threw us outside, and slammed the door in our faces. As we looked at each other helplessly, we heard the footsteps of multiple creatures running towards us from the surroundings. We panicked and headed for the stairs. At that moment, Mia's scream pierced our ears. The creatures had caught Mia and dragged her away. Mia vanished from sight amid the screams. I wanted to turn back and grab her, but I couldn't. Leah grabbed my arm. "Come on, let's go upstairs," she said. When we reached the top floor, Leah immediately closed the door. She went to the room and brought a black sheet. "Sit there and wait for me," she said. I did as she told me. I was trembling with fear. A little later, Leah returned with a bowl, some white paper, a pen, and the candles she had taken from Mrs. Donovan's house. She sat on the black sheet and quickly started doing something. I didn't understand what she was planning, but I had a bad feeling. Those creatures could enter at any moment and take us too. Leah wrote something on the papers. Then she tore the papers into small strips and threw them into the bowl. After that, she lit the candles and placed one next to us. She took a knife from her pocket and said, "Come on, hold your hand out toward me." I asked fearfully, "Don't be ridiculous, what are you doing?" Leah shouted, "I told you to hold your hand out toward me," and grabbed my wrist, pulling it towards herself. She made a small cut on the tip of my finger. It hurt. She let the blood from my finger drip into the bowl. Then she handed me the knife and said, "Now you cut my finger." "No, I can't do that." "Do it yourself," I said. Leah said with a determined voice, "No, you have to do it." At this moment, I was desperate. I didn't want to hurt her, but I had to do it. Taking a deep breath, I lightly cut her finger. Her blood also flowed into the bowl. Leah took one of the candles. She set the papers in the bowl on fire and said, "Now, repeat the prayer I will read with me." I nodded fearfully and started repeating it with her. After repeating the prayer several times, the house door suddenly knocked hard. I was frozen stiff. As I looked toward the door, Leah grabbed my hand. "Don't look at the door. Focus on me and keep reading the prayer. Don't give up. We have to do this until this nightmare ends," she said. We held hands and continued reading the prayer with all our might. After a while, All the sounds from outside suddenly ceased. Then, the morning bell began to ring. As the bell rang, the terrible pressure that was wrapping around me dispersed, and the air brightened. When the bell finished, it was as if all the evil had vanished. We slowly stood up. Silence had fallen. Leah told me, "Let's get out of here." We opened the door of the house and went down the stairs. When we got to the garden, Leah told me, "You run toward the garden gate. I'll follow you." I replied, "Please be quick. I'll be waiting for you at the gate." And I ran toward the gate. But I had a bad feeling inside. Something was wrong. When I reached the garden gate, I turned around and looked at the house. At that moment, my knees buckled. My hands started shaking. My tongue was tied. I saw bodies hanging from the branches of the trees in the garden. They were all there: Mary, Aaron, Mia, and Leah. Leah was there too. It was impossible. She was just next to me. She was trying to save me. Now she was hanging lifelessly next to the others. My vision blurred. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't stay there any longer. With trembling knees, I left the garden. I started running. As I ran through the streets, I still couldn't get the sight of Leah out of my mind. I didn't know what was real and what wasn't. After a while, I saw a man on the road. I approached him and said, "Please, give me your phone. I need to call someone." Seeing the state I was in, the man handed me his phone without hesitation. I immediately called the police. The man stayed with me until the police arrived. Soon after, the police and ambulance arrived. They took me to the hospital. From that house, they brought out the lifeless bodies of my friends. The faces of all of them were covered in a frozen expression of horror. They also handcuffed Mrs. Donovan and put her in the police car. That night turned into a nightmare that I will never forget for the rest of my life. And I still feel the same thing every time I pass by that house. It's as if someone is still watching me from inside. A long time has passed since that incident, but sometimes I still remember what I experienced and saw, and I feel as bad as if it happened yesterday. If the girls hadn't gone into that room, if they hadn't brought that curse upon themselves, perhaps everything could have been very different. The only reason I was saved from there was that the curse hadn't contaminated me, because when the jar broke, I was outside the room. The thing inside that jar had only splashed onto them. Maybe I also experienced those moments and breathed in that fear, but it hadn't affected me. Still, this doesn't make me lucky, because I lost 4 of my friends in one night. Sometimes I think, if that curse had contaminated me, I don't know what my end would have been. Maybe I would be next to them now. I am grateful to be alive, but I wish my friends could have been with me too. Sometimes people succumb to their curiosity. They rush into places without thinking about where they are stepping. Yet, they can never know that step might be their last. Whatever we go through, let our hope always be in God. May God be the helper and protector of all of us. That's the story, everyone. Thank you for listening. I love you very much. If you still haven't subscribed to my channel, you can subscribe and turn on notifications to be informed about new videos. See you in the next videos. Goodbye.